All right, happy Wednesday, guys. We've got a 15 game slate. Had a 13 game slate yesterday where we absolutely killed it on the picks. We got 11 out of 13 right and could have swept the board. Had a couple of late inning chokes that cost us the full sweep. But as always, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. It's free, it helps me a lot. And to do that, make sure you turn notifications on. We'll be dropping our first NFL video today. So we're going to cover a few games today, a few games tomorrow, and then we will cover the rest on Saturday. So make sure you have those noties on. That way you see when that video goes live. Let's get into the recap. Like I said, good day. Could have been an amazing day. 1.34 units. The Cubbies killed us. We just needed them to score like 2 runs. They couldn't. They got beat 5-0. The A's ended up winning 3-2. Of course, we had the team total over 3.5, so we got hooked there. And then that cost us the Seattle-Oakland over as well. Not a lot of runs there, surprisingly. We ended up hitting a nice little parlay there. The Yankees got beat on a walk-off grand slam, so they were up 4-3 heading into the bottom of the ninth, and they absolutely blew it. So gave up, 6 runs between the 8th and the ninth innings. Sweet. And then the Blue Jays lost it in the top of the ninth. So literally, we lost both of these games in the ninth inning. It is what it is. Cost us the fun parlay. So had the Yankees won, we would have hit that. We would have hit our other parlay. So it could have been just a beautiful night. That said, still a great night. Prop lanes, we went 5-1. Absolutely crushed that. Meyer gave up 5 earned runs. Vlad easily crushed this 1.5 line. Lindor crushed his. He hit a 2-run home run. Cutter Crawford threw an absolute gem. I think he gave up 1 hit and struck out like 9 or something. Him and Peterson were just going insane on the Ks. Paul Skeens under 6.5 Ks at plus money. He ended up at 6. Luis Castillo under 6.5 Ks for plus 105. He ended up at 5. So that was very sweat free. So absolutely crushed it today, man. Could have went 13 for 13 on the picks. That would have been insane if we just could have held some ninth inning lead. All right, hot and cold. Let's jump into that. So Sonny Gray, got a hot batter matchup here with Willie Adams and Reese Hoskins against Sonny Gray. Rizzo, Stanton, and Judge have some good stats here against Eovaldi. Simeon and Sager against Stroman, and then Michael Conforto for the Giants against Zach Gallen. Some cold batter matchups: Trevino against Eovaldi, and then Julio Rodriguez and Dylan Moore going up against J.P. Sears. Hot pitcher matchups: Charlie Morton going up against the Rockies. Shocker. And then Sonny Gray struggled a little bit against this Milwaukee lineup. They're 19 for 65 with 4 home runs and 8 extra base hits off of him. So we will talk about that. Bullpen review, nothing today. Nothing that really stood out. Maybe Minnesota again. They do have a couple of guys that have pitched back to back. So we'll see if, they probably will be out. And it does look like it is a bullpen game for the Twins today. So standings review, jump into that. But we have had a switch atop the AL East. So the Yankees were a half a game ahead, blew it last night, so now they are a half a game behind. So they are now officially has that first wild card spot. So pretty big game today. Orioles are wrapping up that series against the White Sox. So I think we know how that one's going to go. So it's really important that the Yankees win today. Red Sox are managed to lose 4 straight, but they've only lost a game in the wild card. So still technically in it, but 4.5 back with 23 to play. They're on absolute life support right now. Guardians are starting to catch a little bit of fire, and they're gaining some ground, putting some ground between them and the Twins and the Royals. Let's see, the Tigers, kind of the same thing as the Red Sox. They're technically still in it, but man, it's looking a little bleak. Astros, pretty commanding lead that they've got going on right now. So take a miracle, and I don't think the Mariners are that team. In the East, the Phillies are really starting to pull away here, so they've got a 7-game lead over the Braves, and the Mets are a half a game back of that final wild card spot to the Braves. So very important games today for the Braves and the Mets. Let's see, in the Central, Brewers, we've already talked about that. They're light years ahead of everybody. Cubs and Cardinals kind of right there. I wouldn't say life support, maybe for the Cardinals. Cubbies got to go on a tear. They got a good game today to win. And then in the West, the Dodgers are kind of starting to run away with it a little bit. D-backs and Padres are still pretty comfortably in that wild card, but can't go on some type of losing streak, which we've seen these Padres bats just go ice cold. So hard to say. Let's jump into the slate. First game on the card, Phillies and the Blue Jays. Christopher Sanchez going up against Bowden Francis. Francis has been insanely good. Absolute insane. He's given up 4 earned runs in his last 5 starts, and he's faced the Red Sox, the Angels, the Cubs, the Angels, and the Orioles. So a couple of those teams obviously not overpowering, mainly the Angels. But if we look over those games, 34 innings pitched, he's only given up 9 hits, struck out 39, and he only walked 4. So very good K to walk ratio there. If we look at Christopher Sanchez, he did face this team in Philly in May. Pretty good outing. As said, Sanchez at home is a little bit different than Sanchez away. So Sanchez away has a 5.5 ERA almost. Francis still has a 4.4 home ERA. So definitely pitched worse in Toronto. We look at Sanchez. He had a little stretch there where he kind of sucked. But he's starting to return to form a little bit. So 6 earned runs in his last 3 starts. But if we just kind of look at his last 3 away starts, a little worse with 11 earned runs. That said, maybe some of the worst away teams you can face, Atlanta, Arizona, and the Dodgers. So give them a little bit of credit there. If we look at this Blue Jays lineup, just very sporadic. They're hitting, 125 over the last 7 days. Phillies aren't hitting a ton better at 182, but they're finding ways to win games. I would say I would lean Phillies here, just because I think we saw last night that you can't really trust that Toronto bullpen. That said, Phillies bullpen isn't much better, but they did pitch Taijuan Walker last night. He made his first bullpen outing. Maybe not his first. I think it was. I don't know. He gave up runs. Shocker. So at least we won't see him tonight. That makes me feel better. I think Sanchez has a pretty decent day. We're starting to see the Phillies kind of tear it up a little bit. I like them to get the win and get the hell out of Toronto. All right, next game, White Sox Orioles. Not much to talk about here. White Sox are horrendous. They've lost 12 in a row. They're trying to beat their 21 game losing streak. So the 0 for 10 in their last 10. We look at Cannon. He is 2 and 9. He's got a 4.17 home ERA. Suarez, a little under a 4. Cannon's given up 17 earned runs over his last 4 games. And he faced the Mets, the Tigers, the Giants, and the Yankees. So not too bad. If we look at Suarez, he's been on a tear. I don't know what the heck is going on, but only given up 4 earned runs over his last 5 starts. So he has been pitching the ball beautifully. White Sox suck. I mean, just really not much to talk about here. Suarez given up a 177 average to righties, 280s to lefties. And in 283 to lefties, 341 to righties. So he should get absolutely shelled. Pitch splits don't look good for him. Can't trust their offense. Can't trust their bullpen. Yeah, it's ugly. So we're going to talk about some ladder options maybe to better utilize this. Obviously, we can't play it at minus 340, but look for ways that we can play this team. All right, Reds, Astros. I thought this was interesting. The Astros have lost their last 7 games against the Reds. What the hell? That's crazy stuff. Arrighetti going up against Nick Martinez. Arrighetti has been on fire. I don't know what has gotten into this dude, but he has been pitching lights out. So he hasn't given up an earned run in his last 2 games, and that was against Philly and Baltimore. Now, before that, previous 2, he'd given up 6. We look at Nick Martinez. He had a really good stretch there where he wasn't giving up any earned runs, and now he's kind of reverted back to normal Nick Martinez. Martinez has given up 14 earned runs in his last 18.2 innings pitched. Not good. And he's only averaging 2.75 Ks a start. So I don't hold out a lot of hope for Mr. Martinez today. Arrighetti, right? I mean, 41% of his pitches are fastballs. We know the Reds can jump on fastballs, but I think we're kind of at that point in the season where Reds are probably checked out. You know, it's game over for them. I don't know what their lineup construction is going to look like, right? So, yeah, I don't hold out a lot of faith in this team. Bullpen's been struggling the past 30 days. Astros bullpen's gotten a lot better. So everything here really just kind of trends towards a convincing Astros victory. If we look at Arrighetti, only given up a 111 average to lefties, 268 to righties over the last 30 days. Martinez, about 260 both sides of the baseball. The only thing for Arrighetti is he does give up a lot of hard hit balls. He's sitting at about 40%. So we could see some balls leave the yard today in this game, but it would take something special, and I just don't think the Redlegs have it in them today to get the win. So, like the Astros, would love it if it was a little less than 142, but I actually think that's still pretty decent value here. All right, next game, Nats and the Marlins. Everybody seemed to be on the Marlins yesterday, which kind of blew me away. We were obviously on the Nats, and that went quite well. All right, Mackenzie Gore going up against Valente Balazzo. So Balazzo rocking about a 6-home ERA in 3 games, so you can't read a ton into that. Mackenzie Gore about 4.7 away ERA. If we look at Balazzo, struggled a little bit his last 3 starts, giving up 13 earned runs during that time. Now, I will say I think 6 of those came at Colorado, so take that with a grain of salt. And then he had the Cubs and the Mets where he gave up runs. If we look at McGore, I like that. We're just gonna call him McGore. All right, McGore versus Miami, 6-14. So June 14th, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 10 Ks. Had an absolute gem. He's been pitching really well as of late. He's only given up 3 earned runs in his last 2 games against the Mets and the Braves. So I like the way he's trending. I think they get the job done today. That said, I don't know if this follows the trend. It's kind of like a mini getaway day. I don't know. Marlins at home on getaway day. We're fading the beast. Ugh. Yeah, I'm doing it. Nationals. Nats up. Got to go with it. Nats up all day. In terms of splits, Balazzo giving up a 328 average to righties, 224 to lefties. Surprisingly, Gore's actually worse over the last 30 days. 281 to lefties, 325 to righties. But there's a significant difference in hard hit percentage. So Balazzo is at 48% hard hit, 92 exit velo. So he is giving up just absolute piss missiles all over the yard. So give me the Nats in this spot. All right, Twins Rays. This might be an ugly game. This is just a straight bullpen day for both teams. If we look at Henriquez, 3 earned runs over his last 8.2 innings pitched. Right, Sulcer's been pretty solid. Just kind of an ugly bullpen day. I'm going to take the Twins just because I think we're going to mainly see right-handed pitching against the Rays, and the Twins love right-handed pitching. At least it doesn't show it here, but they definitely hit better against right-handers. Whereas it's kind of opposite for the Rays. They like lefties, and I think, again, they'll see a decent amount of righties. So I will take the Twins in this spot. After we were on the dub yesterday, let's get should be a sweep in that series, I believe. We should be able to get them all right. All right, Red Sox Mets. Tanner Houck, Meatball, Tyler McGill. Old Meatball was good in his last start, though. He went 5.1 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run versus the White Sox. That said, it's the White Sox, so let's not get too excited. If we look at Tanner Houck, definitely better away than at home. He's got a 2.83 away ERA. Meatball's got a 4 home ERA. It's actually Tanner Houck's first start against the Mets. Pretty wild. If we look at Houck, he's given up 10 earned runs in his last 4 games, 0 earned runs in his last start versus Detroit. So very similar to Cutter Crawford, who kind of both of them at the same time were starting to struggle. Now over the last 5, 6, 7 starts, we're starting to see them kind of regain some form here. Pitch splits for Meatball look terrible. He should get shellacked. He's kind of had this theme where his first start after he comes up, he's pretty good. Then he gets smacked all around the yard. So as much as I'm loving the Mets right now, they've won 6 straight. I got to go with my gut here. My gut says Boston at least gets this last one. So Meatball's giving up a 444 average to lefties. That's crazy. 0.083 to righties, but lefties on that Red Sox lineup that will absolutely destroy you. So I'm going to go Red Sox here. Tight game. If you don't want to take Red Sox, maybe just look at like a team total. I would imagine on an 8, it's like 3.5. Or take the over. The over is what I'm on today. So I love the over 8 in this game. We're hammering the over 8 because I do think Meatball gets hit, and I think the Mets will get a couple. The only thing that scares me is this Red Sox bullpen is just tragically bad. 5.94 ERA. It's like, oh God, that is scary. All right, Rockies and the Braves. Bradley Blaylock going up against Uncle Charlie Morton, or Grandpa Charlie, however you want to refer to him. Morton, 4 home ERA. Blaylock, 3.75 away ERA, but it's only over 2 games. Blaylock in his last outing against the Marlins just got absolutely shelled. 4 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned, 3 Ks. Pretty bad. If we look at Morton, he's given up 8 earned runs in his last 4 starts. 3 of those were away, 1 was home. So for the Braves, if you look at the split here over the last 7 days, they're only hitting 172, last 14, 227. So I want to dig into that. Like, man, what's going on with that? Because their records, okay, 6-4, but look at the right-handed starters they've faced this week. They faced Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, David Festa, Simeon Woods Richardson, and Bailey Ober. So they've faced some fairly good pitchers. I believe that's the game they smacked Ober all around the yard and got like 9 earned runs the first 2 innings. But still some really solid pitchers. So kind of makes sense why over the past 7 weeks the numbers have dipped a little bit against righties. If we look at Blaylock, his splits, 268 average to lefties, 344 to righties, giving up 44% hard hit, 90 exit velo, whereas Morton, 292 to lefties, 296 to righties. So I don't love that. I can certainly see why the over is favored at 8.5, but the wind is blowing in. Really haven't seen a ton of runs scored this game, so I can't put a lot of faith that the Rockies are going to score runs. So I'm just going to go Braves. I think they finish. They do what they need to do here. Okay. Brewers, Cardinals, Sonny Gray, Colin Rea. Matchup of the ages. All right, Sonny Gray, 5.62 away ERA. Not been good away. Rea, 3.87 home ERA. We look at Gray. He did face Milwaukee earlier this year at Milwaukee. It wasn't good. 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, three home runs, and 6 Ks. Gray's 14 earned runs over his last 4 starts. That said, his last outing against the Padres were really good, but we know the Padres can just sometimes their bats just absolutely disappear. We look at his last 2 away starts, though. He's given up 11 earned runs. So there is a clear path that shows over the course of this entire season he struggled away. If we look at Rea, he's only given up 1 earned run over his last 10.2 innings versus St. Louis. So he's got a little track record of success there. Did have some rough starts earlier, several years ago that didn't really impact anyone on this current roster. But he's only given up 7 earned runs over his last 3 games. So he was at Cincy, at Oakland, and against the Guardians. So I like him today. Give me plus money for the better team. I'm in. Brewers should have won last night. They pissed away an opportunity in the bottom of the 10th. Could not score. Pretty wild. Should be ball game yesterday. So now we're just getting really good money. And we were on the Cardinals yesterday. So double whammy. So give me the Brew Crew today. I like them to absolutely shell Sonny Gray. Maybe not shell. That might be strong. I like them to get at least 4 runs. Let me put it that way. So if you don't want to take the Brewers to win, the over-under is 3.5 for team total. I like the over. All right, next game. Guardians and the Royals. Ben Lively going up against Seth Lugo. We were on the guards last night. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I was shedding tears as they were just smacking home runs, just beating them down. Ben Lively, 3.90 away ERA. Lugo, a 3.36 home ERA. We're seeing a ton of value here on the Guardians. This is a Royals team that can't hit. Clearly, the books think that this is the game where they get right a little bit. Can I see it against Lively? Yeah, I think the pitch splits show that there's absolutely a chance. If we look at Lively, he's not been stellar. He did face this team in Kansas City on June 27th. Pretty solid game. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. That said, he's given up 17 earned runs over his last 5 starts. So he had kind of this period. It might have been around that June time frame where he was really, really good, actually. But lately, he's kind of reverted back to normal. This is a 4 ERA guy pitching like a 4 ERA guy. If we look at Lugo, 2 games versus Cleveland, he gave up 5 earned runs in Cleveland, 0 earned runs at home. So I think that's why we're seeing this line reflected. But third time that the Guardians are going to be facing Lugo. He's been struggling. He's given up 11 earned runs over his last 3 home starts, 15 earned runs just over his last 4 starts in general. So not a guy that should scare them much. The stat I love for him is that he has given up a 333 average to lefties over the last 30 days, 429 WOBA, WOBA. I don't know why I didn't just say that. Lack of sleep. Let's see. And he's given up a 262 average to righties. He's not K'ing a ton. He's only K'ing 17% to righties, 24% to lefties. That said, Lively significantly lower, K'ing 15% to lefties, 10% to righties. Both of them give up hard hit contact. Both of them have a higher than average exit velo. If this line was 8, I would jump on it. I like the over 8 in this spot. 8.5. I don't know why, but that half a run just kind of freaks me out. I don't necessarily trust the Royals are going to hit. I think that's really what it comes down to. I think the Guardians will get theirs. I just, for a value play, I'll take plus 120. Lugo doesn't scare me. Like I said, even if the Royals do hit Lively, I don't think the Guardians, get shut out by Lugo. And the Royals bullpen's just bad. Really bad. Guardians still have Clase. So if they get the lead heading into the ninth, that's one game where I'm feeling pretty damn confident. All right, Cubs Pirates. I didn't do a ton of notes on this one. Imanaga going up against Domingo German. I don't know. This guy's name struggles. I need to look it up. Anyway, it's Cubs game all day. All day. I love the bounce back spot. They get beat 5-0 yesterday. Beautiful spot for them to come back today. I think Imanaga has an absolute gem of a day. I love that the wind's blowing in. I actually prefer that the wind is blowing in when he pitches just because 65% of his outs come via the fly ball. But you can really say the same thing for Domingo. His is 9%. So give me the Cubs all day. I don't think they get shut out again. I think we see kind of that reversion. We see the over-under at 8. So I do think that they expect runs to be scored, and I don't think it's going to be on the Pirate side. So you could look at maybe a Cubs team total if you wanted to kind of fade who wins or loses, I suppose. All right, Yankees, Rangers. Freaking Yankees. This closer got the first guy out, gave up a single, and then goes walk, walk, grand slam. That's why you can't walk people. You're supposed to throw strikes. I don't know if it's like some kind of weird ass unwritten rule that if you have a lead, you got to walk at least one guy in the ninth inning. You should probably not do that. I don't know. That's just me. All right, Stroman, 2.56 away ERA. Significantly better away than he is at home. You can say the same thing for Eovaldi, although it's kind of starting to trend where he's just kind of been bad both ways. Eovaldi did face the Yankees earlier in August. Didn't go too well. 3 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 Ks. If we look at Stroman, been pitching really, really well. Only given up 1 earned run in 11 innings versus Texas over the last 2 years. He's only given up 6 earned runs over his last 4 starts. If we look at Eovaldi, been struggling a little bit. 16 earned runs in his last 4 home starts. So he's averaging 4 runs a start. And that was against the Twins, the Red Sox, the White Sox, and Baltimore. So we can see the better teams offensively are getting to him. And I think, based on these pitch splits, Yankees should. I don't know. They're in some kind of weird rut, but God, I just can't back the Rangers if it is coin toss, right? Minus 110, minus 110. Back the better team. Better team is the Mets, or the Yankees. Dear God. So tired. Okay, next game. Dodgers Angels. Bobby Miller, Griffin Canning. That was a pretty wild game last night. The Dodgers ended up scoring 4 in the 10th to win it. Got pretty crazy. It was 2-2. What was happening? Reed Detmers had an absolute day. Walker Buehler pitched pretty good. So good for him. All right. Anyway, Bobby Miller, Griffin Canning. Canning's terrible. He's got a 5.02 career ERA versus the Yankees. He's given up 14 earned runs over his last 3 home starts. We look at Miller. He's not been phenomenal away. That said, it's 2 games. So he's got an 11 ERA, but let's not panic. That's only over 2 games. Miller's given up 10 earned runs in his last 3 games since returning. So I do think he should see a lot of success today. And I think the Angels absolutely get shit on. Canning is terrible. They should pounce all over him. His pitch splits are bad. This is a run line kind of play on the Dodgers. All right, Tigers, Padres. Yu Darvish making his return. Has not pitched since May 29th. So that should be interesting today. Uh, Darvish 7-0 in his career versus Detroit. Montero 9 earned runs over his last 4 games pitched. 7 earned runs in his last 3 away starts. So not too bad. But if we look at Montero versus top 10 offenses, not gone well. Basically, you can count on 4 earned runs versus top 10 offenses. That said, Padres is top 10 offense? Yeah, I guess. Although they're kind of trending in a direction that makes me feel like they're not. But for right now, they are. I believe Fernando Tatis is back in the lineup as well. So that'll be a nice little injection into that offense. So I look for them to roll today. I just don't really see a path to take the Tigers. I mean, Tigers are still 7-3 over the last 10. I guess you could take them. Maybe Yu Darvish struggles in his first outing back. I don't think he goes for a long time. Yeah, no, Padres game in my opinion. All right, next game, Mariners, Athletics. We've been on the Athletics first 2 games. I'm going right back to that well. Give me the A's. Going right back to the well. Kirby, 4.17 away ERA. Sears, 4.7 home ERA. If we look at Kirby versus the A's in June, they got 5 innings. He got 5 innings pitched, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 Ks. Pretty good outing. We look at Kirby's last 5 starts. He has been getting shelled. 19 earned runs in his last 5. And against subpar teams. That was the Angels, the Giants, the Pirates, and the Tigers twice. Just absolutely rocked him. We look at Sears. He's got a really good career ERA versus the Mariners, 1.86 career ERA. He's only given up 2 earned runs in his last start against them. He's only given up 11 earned runs in his last 5 starts in general. Of those 11, 5 came to the Brewers. So he had a really rough outing against the Brewers. Other than that, he's been super solid. If we look at Seattle, haven't really gotten the lefties. They got Tyler Anderson for 4. But other than that, we go back to the previous 6 left-handed starters against them, and they only got 8 runs combined. So which Mariners offense will we see? They came out of the gates firing last night. Mariners scored 2 in the first, never scored again. Only runs they scored the whole game. So, what are you going to get? I'm just going to stick with the A's for plus money. I think they can get to Kirby. Kirby's been giving up a 365 average to lefties over the last 30 days, 305 to righties. Sears 210 to righties, 333 to lefties. So this is just a systematic play to me. I think the A's are the hotter hitting team. There's no massive significant pitching advantage here based on how Kirby's pitched away. So give me the A's for plus money. All right, last game here on the card. D-backs, Giants. Woo, man, D-back game scared the shit out of me. But apologies in advance, but we got to do it. Zach Gallen going up against Hayden Birdsong. I don't like Hayden Birdsong. We took him in Milwaukee and he screwed us. 4.26 home ERA. Gallen 4.17 away ERA. Birdsong, I think I put Birdson in here. That's all right. He doesn't deserve that G. 5 earned runs in his last start versus Milwaukee. Absolutely screwed us. Milwaukee also scored 0 runs. No, I'm sorry. The Giants scored 0 runs, so that was cool. 1 previous in his last 2 starts. So he pitched really well against Seattle and Oakland. Okay. Gallen, 10 earned runs in his last 4 starts. A 5 earned run in his last start against the Dodgers. So kind of look into that what you will. He doesn't have success necessarily against this Giants lineup. He did give up 5 earned runs last start against them, but that was way back in April. He is trending in the right direction, so I think that's kind of 2 different teams. Yeah, I just don't like Birdsong. I think the Diamondbacks get some runs. If they want to get into a shootout with them, I'm fine with that. I love the over 7.5. That's really my first and foremost bet would be over 7.5. That line's just too low with the wind blowing out. I just don't think that Birdsong's going to stymie this lineup. So it must be the books are thinking that the Giants are going to struggle to score. Birdsong, and he ain't going to shut them down. All right, pitching sheet here. This is completed again. But you guys can screenshot this, look at it, and make some decisions or not based off of that. All right, best bets today. We are going Milwaukee team total over 3.5. This is just a systematic play where Sonny Gray has been pretty bad away, and we really haven't seen the Brewers kind of pop off offensively, I'd say. So, really good day for that to happen. Give me the Cleveland and Kansas City Nerfy at -120. I think Lively can do enough to stop the Royals offense. And I think Lugo has a pretty decent first inning. All right, and then the Boston Mets game over 8. I love this play a lot. I just think Meatball McGill gets hammered. So I like that play a lot. Astros race to 4. If you're on DraftKings, you can do this one. Just a play where I think the Astros should be able to hit Nick Martinez pretty easily. And then the D-backs Giants over 7.5. That's like easily my favorite play of the day. With the wind blowing out too. It's crazy. Parlays I like. I like the Astros, Cubs, Padres at +294. I like the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Braves at +281. And then I like Baltimore, Dodgers, and the Braves all on the run line at +423. I really love that I included the Braves in here twice, though. I just kind of noticed that. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I think it's fine. Play lock sucks. All right, fun parlay. I like the Phillies, the Astros, the Padres, the Braves, the Cubs, and the Orioles at +1043. Upset parlay today is going to be Cleveland, Milwaukee, and the A's at +877. Prop leans I like today. There's a decent amount of them, actually. I know I'm on Cleveland, but I like Lugo over 4.5 Ks at -110. Just good value there. He should hit that. Give me Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies. This line probably moved, but it was over 3.5 Ks, which is like ridiculous. So at -170. Imanaga over 5.5 Ks at -150. Meatball McGill over 4.5 hits. Give me Sonny Gray over 2.5 earned runs at +116. Aaron Judge over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Lindor over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Butler for the A's. This guy has hit this in 13 straight games. He's on a 13 streak of over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's been on an absolute tear. So love that spot. And then Santander over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at -135. So huge value there. Murphy's I like. Philly and Toronto. I like the Nats and the Marlins. And then obviously Cleveland and KC, which we're on. Kind of other leans I looked at was Philadelphia and Toronto first 5 under. So I do like that. And then an Orioles ladder. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about how this would work. All right, so I need to get some odds here. So let me pull that up. So the ladder, the way it would work, let's say what we would do is we would put like a unit. Let's say a unit on the white side on the Orioles at -2. So they got to win by 3. So you can do 1 unit on that. Then you do a half a unit on 2.5, right? And then you can do a quarter unit on -3. So they got to win by 4. Then you can do like a tenth of a unit on -5 or whatever. You just keep going down the ladder, right? But you scale down. You basically have your bet each time. So I do like an Orioles ladder play based on how they're just absolutely demolishing this team every game. And then Seattle, Oakland under 7.5. I did think about that, but I just feel like as soon as I bet them, Seattle will just go nuts and score a bunch of runs. So I don't want to do that. Anyway, that is going to do it for me. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. NFL video will be coming out later today, so make sure you got those noties turned on. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's free. I'll catch you tomorrow.